the electronics. It's even more complex than electrical work in a home, since it involves both 120 volt AC systems and 12 volt DC electronics. For the amateur van builder, it often takes months of study to understand all the complexities. We face the same issues, and instead of just replicating the past, chose to dramatically reduce the complexity of van electronics. From a complicated electrical system as shown,
let's look at a typical 2400 watt system. You have batteries, inverter, solar charger, power distribution, DC to DC converter, AC to DC charger, and multiple gauges. In total, they can exceed $4,000, but that's not the major expense. Its assembly. A typical van power system also requires dozens of custom-made wire harnesses. To handle the large currents, each cable has to be cut to length, crimped, but that's all unnecessary now. Several companies offer battery generators that eliminate most of the work. Although we have just used EcoFlow units, there are now several options that are all becoming less expensive by the month. Generators have their limitations. First, there's only typically one DC charge input, so you can charge from solar or alternator, but not both at the same time. Even with two inputs, there is a 10 to 15 amp current limit. Solar panels wired in series generate higher voltage, so the 10 amp limitations are not restrictive. But a 12 volt alternator will only charge at 125 watts per hour. This is not acceptable. But you can charge in excess of 1000 watts with 120 volts AC. So we put an inverter under the driver's seat, connect to the van's battery less than a foot away, and run 120 volts beneath the floor with a standard extension cord to the generator. With 120 volt input, the generator is able to charge with solar and the alternator at the same time. Here we first show charging with only solar. As soon as the van starts, you can charge in excess of over 600 watts per hour.
in addition to charging from solar panels on your van's roof, it's also easy to add full open solar panels on the ground to a maximum of 1600 watts.
The units also have minimal DC output to power all the 12 volt circuits in your van. That is easy to deal with. So we add a low-cost computer power supply that converts 120 volts AC to 12 volts DC. It costs under $40. We designed a simple switch panel that accomplishes all of that. A transfer switch for van or shore power, another transfer switch for van alternator or shore to charge the battery unit. Your solar panels never stop charging the generator with available sunlight. Back to our design of the 2400 kilowatt unit. That costs about $2,400. If you add a second plug-in extension battery, that increased storage to 4 kilowatt hours for about $3,200. But you also can have a redundant unit for 4 kilowatt hours and almost instantly swap over in the case of a failure. That costs about $3,900.
When we design our vans, we make sure the owner has easy access to the unit, not only for easy removal or replacement, but to access additional features available in many units. Here's an EcoFlow Pro mounted beneath the bed at the rear of the van. Prices of battery generators on average have fallen by almost 20% in 2 years. This EcoFlow Pro unit has a 30 amp plug to power large tools, an EV charge port to reduce charge times to under 2 hours, and Bluetooth pairings so you can monitor power usage and battery levels from your smartphone.
Here we show how quickly you can swap out a generator. It takes less than a minute. We will never build a traditional electronic system again. We can no longer honestly justify the additional $7,000 cost.